Post-tropical storm Lee making its presence known in the maritime provinces this morning, while in Newfoundland and Labrador we await the remnants of Lee, which will not arrive until tomorrow. Good morning, I'm NTV Chief Meteorologist Eddie Shear. Taking a look at our live NTV Skycam over Quidi-Vidi Lake this morning, we can see it's foggy in the capital city, it's not overly windy, and the weather is quite calm. And that's generally what we are going to see across most of Newfoundland and Labrador as we go through today. Not so much widespread fog, but generally calm weather. The same can't be said for Halifax right now. Here's the view from Halifax Harbor. This is the view from Dartmouth looking at Halifax. And if it was clear, you'd see it. But right now, we are already seeing the wind coming up, the rain coming in, and it's a pretty nasty morning in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and across many areas of the province right now of Nova Scotia, and even into parts of New Brunswick. Yarmouth right now reporting wind speeds of 39, Halifax 56, but those highest wind speeds are still a little bit offshore, as you can see there with the circulation around now post-tropical storm Lee. We've got tropical storm warnings, hurricane watches up for a large part of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick and PEI this morning, along with a storm surge warning for the coast of Nova Scotia. Areas under a hurricane watch range from north of Halifax all the way back into western Nova Scotia. These areas will likely see winds gusting to hurricane force this afternoon, which is about 120 kilometers per hour. Now, even though Lee is no longer a hurricane, it's a very powerful post-tropical storm with winds measured at 6:30 this morning, as of 9:30 this morning, Newfoundland Daylight Time, at 130 kilometers per hour, gusting 160. And those gusts are largely just offshore, but they are going to begin to work onshore in parts of Nova Scotia shortly, and this afternoon is going to be quite rough. We're going to see high winds, lots of rain. I do suspect if we're not seeing large numbers of customers without power in Nova Scotia and parts of New Brunswick and even PEI, those numbers will begin to increase this afternoon as those wind speeds really begin to ramp up. Lots of rain around Lee as well, some areas of Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and even into parts of Quebec and potentially southeast Labrador and maybe western Newfoundland are going to see heavy rain from this. But the most severe impacts, rain, wind, surge, not in Newfoundland and Labrador, really across the maritime provinces. So here is the forecast track from Lee, again going to make a landfall somewhere in western Nova Scotia. It looks like early this afternoon as a powerful post-tropical storm. Now, this is not on the same scale as Fiona, but it is going to be impactful nonetheless. And what you're looking at here is essentially just the track, where the center is going to go. This does not show you scale. This shows you scale. Look at the projected wind gusts around the storm. Now, there's a large swath of winds gusting over 100 to the west and east of Lee this morning. However, that area will shrink in size as Lee makes a landfall potentially right around Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, late this afternoon. But there's that core of high winds gusting over 100 from near Queens, Nova Scotia up through the Halifax, Dartmouth area. And if there's an area that's going to see those severe hurricane force gusts, it's going to be a small area to the right of where the storm makes landfall. And notice those gusts over 100 are gone by 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. But we're still looking at a core relatively high wind speeds working into the Gulf of St. Lawrence, into the Cabot Strait, and into parts of Newfoundland and Labrador during the day tomorrow, specifically around the south coast. So some areas are going to see winds gusting 60, 70, 80 tomorrow, but this is nothing out of the ordinary for what we see in Newfoundland and Labrador almost with any area of low pressure, so do not be alarmed by the wind speeds. Now, we are going to see one area of relatively high winds. I don't think it comes as a surprise to anybody. That's going to be in the Wreck House area, a Wreck House wind warning in effect from this afternoon through tomorrow morning for winds gusting as high as 100 kilometers per hour. Now, here's Futurecast again. This is showing you the rain around Lee. And the heaviest rain today is going to be across New Brunswick and parts of Nova Scotia. By this evening, some of the rain bands associated with post-tropical storm Lee begin to make their presence known into parts of the Gulf of St. Lawrence, western Newfoundland, southern Labrador, and the lower north shore of Quebec. But it's not really until tomorrow during the afternoon where the rain works into the northern peninsula and southeast Labrador and becomes heavy at times tomorrow evening with the remnants of Lee, which will be a far weaker area of low pressure than what we're seeing now, and that quickly kind of moves offshore early Monday morning, and behind it, the weather improves rapidly. Now, that being said, some areas are going to see significant amounts of rain over parts of western and northwestern Newfoundland by Monday morning. It looks like a widespread 40 to 50 or 50 to 75 millimeters of rain from southeast Labrador and even grazing the northern peninsula of Newfoundland. So I do suspect we may get some rainfall warnings issued from Environment and Climate Change Canada. We're also looking at the potential for some heavier pockets of rain over the island over the next day or two. You can see there over the isthmus area and for the south coast. I don't know how accurate that is, but some areas may see some heavy downpours, which could result in locally significant rainfall. So far as temperatures go over the next couple of days, today we're looking at teens, tomorrow teens and 20s, and then Tuesday we're back to the teens. But overall, it's going to be a mild couple of days across most of the province, most of the island, cooler in Labrador, and it's also going to feel a little bit muggy as well, as these tropical systems often bring in some very, very muggy air. That's my morning update. I'll have another one for you later today. Stay tuned. Check my Facebook, Twitter, and ntv.ca for your latest forecast. And also, if you want to track this yourself, visit ntv.ca/weather. The live radar tool we have there is extremely, extremely helpful in situations like this. Have a great day.